Hey, Cubs fans, and welcome to another edition of Cubs on Tap. I am your host, Nick Hudson, joined by my co host, Joey Ricotta. How are you doing, man? How are you doing after this Cubs victory today?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing better than all right. Yeah, that was a thriller today. That was. I didn't think they had a chance, Nick. Going down 6-0 like that, and just the wheels looked like they were falling off. And you had a big letdown the day before against the Rockies, and you come back home, and I don't know, something clicked mid game, and call it the Carson Kelly game, call it whatever you want. This team stepped up and looked like two totally different teams from first half of the game to second half of the game, and really more than second half of the game since it went to 10 innings. But yeah,
Yeah,
man, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Coming off of a concert high, we actually saw Avenged Sevenfold and System of a Down last night.
Oh, nice.
It's been one of my biggest dreams of my life to see System of a Down, and my girlfriend got me tickets, I believe, in February for my graduation, and it finally happened, and it was more than what I had expected. They are amazing, so really happy there. But yeah, you put it best, dude. Two different teams. I was sitting there checking my phone. I couldn't get it on the TV yet. Had some things to do. The vibes were down. I was down. I was feeling very just disappointed that they were coming out so flat against this Braves team that is not the Braves that we're used to seeing. And then, like you said, call it what you want to call it. I'm going to go with the Carson Kelly game as well because, man, did he have a hell of a game. But the tides have turned, and it leads me to believe that maybe they've turned completely. Maybe this is when they're going to go on a tear. September, white hot, into October. That's the dream, man. So
Boy,
maybe that was the switch that flipped on, and you're going to get first half Cubs offense, first half Cubs baseball in September going into October. That's my hope. But yeah, just an overall great game, man. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves and the happy times and everything, we did have a series over the weekend with the worst team in baseball, the Colorado Rockies. And, the Panikins were out there on Cubs X for sure, with
the
losing
Panikins?
one. The
Did you call them
Panikins.
the Panikins? Okay,
I
I like
call
that.
them the Panikins.
All right.
Freaking out, whether it be Palencia, whether it be this offense. I saw some Hap slander, which is so far off at this point.
I'm getting sick of seeing that
It's
completely.
just ridiculous. It's just the Panikins, Joey, everywhere. And, call it what you want. An MLB team is going to beat you, whether they're the worst or the best. It's going they have a chance to beat you anytime. This is not little league sports. Like, you can look at paper and say, "Oh, this team is horrible compared to the Cubs," but that's just not how baseball works. So to take the series in a gritty way, I was happy with that. Overall, I saw some things that I liked with the offense, exploding the first game. I saw some things I disliked, letting a team like that get so far back into a game. But ultimately, they took the series. They took care of business. They didn't get the sweep, but they held their ground with Milwaukee. They didn't gain ground, but they held their ground. And they set themselves up for today. But what did you see in the Colorado series?
Yeah, I'll start with the positive. The Friday game, I thought it was awesome to see the bats just get going there. And yeah, you're playing it in Colorado, you're playing at Coors, and we know it's a big offensive ballpark, and the air and the ball travels further and this and that. And really, it doesn't always lead to more home runs. It leads to a lot of extra base hits and things like that. But still, they were able to, like, the home runs that they did hit, the Michael Bush bomb, the two homers by Dansby on Friday, the big game there, the triple, and every ball that he hit. I think he had 4 hard hit balls in that game. Ian Happ going off as well. I thought that was big for them to start out on the right foot on Friday night. And it didn't necessarily translate into huge production the next 2 days, but they were able to still get the job done. And and Dansby coming through when he was coming through on Friday, I thought that was a big momentum shift and confidence booster for him alone, specifically because he has struggled so much with runners in scoring position, and he was able to get it done in some times that really called for it.
Huge game. Yeah.
So, even whether you're using cores or not, I mean, you still have to hit the ball hard. And I think, and that's exactly what he did. And the guys did on Friday. So I thought that was really nice to see. Um, you don't get to square up a pitch just automatically because you're at cores. So that's not really how that works. And then, obviously barely scraped by. I felt like they stole a win on Saturday, which was good. They got the job done. Sunday, a little bit of a different story. Got the game stolen from them. And Palencia had his struggles there at the end. But he wasn't the main. I don't know. I don't look at that as the main reason why they lost that game. But I will say it was nice to see Hap be able to give him a fighting chance there with that 3-run homer to tie it. But unfortunately, just wasn't able to get the job done there. They almost stole that. I shouldn't say they had it stolen from them, because really they probably should have lost before that homer from Hap. But yeah, obviously some things went a little bit awry there on Sunday. You kind of felt like shit going into this series here again. Even though you're coming back home and you're facing the Braves, who haven't been the best team this year either, at least up to their standards like we're used to. But the bottom could have, like, I understand why people felt the way that they did, because you felt like you go into Colorado, sure, go get the sweep. You're playing the worst team in the majors. But I kind of took a different perspective, and I know I told you this a little bit ago too, off air, but my perspective is, you still took 2 out of 3. You did what you, maybe not what you needed was, you probably needed a sweep. But you still took care of business enough, like 2 of 3 playing Colorado. Like, it's still a tough place to play. And I know that they're not the greatest team ever, but I feel like we've seen these types of trips go wrong to Colorado so many times, and they're still a major league team. And I don't know. I think it didn't end as poorly as we thought. Like, the advantage that the Cubs have on the hitting end of things playing at Coors, Colorado has that same advantage.
Exactly.
So, could have been a lot worse than what we saw 2 or 3. So that's kind of how my outlook was of that series.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you fully. And one thing I just want to highlight before we move on is the Dansby Swanson game on Friday. I mean, he went 3 for 5 with 6 RBIs, I believe 2 home runs, right? Or maybe, 2 home runs and a triple, something crazy like that. Coors, put that aside, like, that was what this man needed, is something to show him that you still got it. Let all the noise go and just play and do what you can do. And really, he threw the team on his back in that game. And to your point, Joe, it was 11-7. That's what the game ended at, 11-7. Like, they have the same advantage where you cannot score enough runs at that place. You really just cannot score enough. So I agree with you, man. I was a little disappointed that we didn't get the sweep. Everyone wants the sweep. But as Darren puts here, desire, grit, passion, all the musts that the Cubs are going to be contenders. In that series, I saw all 3 of those things. I really did. I saw desire, grit, and passion. And, they had some gritty wins in that, and that's just what you're going to have to do, even against bad teams like that. But, as you said, moving on to this next series that we're in now, it was kind of a bad feeling. There was kind of a bad cloud over it, if you will, just going into this. And Scott C. from Iowa, our friend Scott, puts it best. A 2-strike bunt with 2 outs, mind you. 2 outs, 2-strike bunt rallied the Cubs to the win. So if people did not see this, PCA came up with 2 outs and 2 strikes. Nico Horner, I believe, on first. And He bunts the ball to the left side. They're kind of shifting, not really, but if you get it to third, it's going to be a hit. And he did a nice bunt down to third. And at the time, I was upset. I was like, why are we doing that? Bunting with 2 outs. Now it's just like, Dansby's up. And I fell into the trap of Dansby's up, runners in scoring position, egg on my face, right? Because he goes and he puts one in the left center gap. And
that was a rocket.
Yeah, he turns like you said, that was a critical double in that moment. They probably don't win the game if that doesn't happen. Really, they don't.
No, that to me, yeah, that set it up. PCA definitely set it up. But Dansby's hit was the turning point to me. Easily could have came out of that with nothing, and cutting it to 2 runs there, that big 2-run, and PCA obviously a huge part of that with not only the bunt but the base running and the speed to get to score on that. Which I mean, it wasn't even. That's not a ball that most people. Sorry, my dog's just. She's obsessed right now, trying to get my attention. She's been really trying for a minute, and I don't know if you've heard her shaking, kind of scratching at me, and now she just jumped up here. Yeah, I know. But yeah, she's awesome. But anyways, but definitely a little bit obsessed with me. But I will say that definitely felt like the turning point. And Dansby is like I said, I think it did start from the Colorado series where he's able to get some big hits there and really try to feed off this momentum and just get out of his head, man. Just get out of your head. Like that whole runners in scoring position thing. It's something that he's even talked about in interviews, and like people have brought it up, of course, to him. Like this is his worst season numbers wise of his career with runners in scoring position. It's like, stop thinking about it. As soon as you stop thinking about it and you just go out and play and have your at bat like it's any other at bat or any other year, that's when you're going to be the most successful. Get back to that. So it definitely feels like he's on the right track and hitting balls really hard lately. The PCA bunt, though, that was just him being, and I know you said, normally I'd agree, like don't bunt with 2 outs, especially 2 strikes. Like what are we doing? But PCA has struggled so much here lately that anything that it takes to kind of contribute or possibly even get himself going, I think it's fine at this point, especially if he's able to utilize his speed and get a free hit, at that point. But yeah, I thought that that's just a really good, heady, smart move by him. I think Boog said it was the first 2-strike, 2-out bunt, or maybe even just 2-strike bunt of the year.
I'm sure.
And I don't know if it was like the first that was attempted or just the first that got put down, but it's a risky play because if you bunt it foul or you don't, you attempt it and miss, you're out. So, but he definitely feels good about his ability to be able to lay it down there. So, yeah, I love to see that. And then I don't know, man, the Carson Kelly, Ian Happ, both of those two just had major games all the way around. So it was just great to see.
Carson Kelly. I keep thinking about this. My papa's actually in town from Scottsdale for his 80th birthday, and he was talking. He's like, Carson Kelly's really good. And I'm like, yeah, but, we didn't expect him to be this good. He's been supposed to be super, super good. And it's just funny because it reminds me of another catcher that we had that was really good too, and we were shocked in Jan Gomes. It's just kind of the same vibe. We're just getting lucky with these catchers, man. And Carson Kelly totally changed the game today. Like Dansby did open it up to get aggressive when you have a bloop and a blast type of lead. It's right there for the taking. But Carson Kelly went and he just did it. And then obviously after tying it with the home run in the 10th, you're down to 2 outs there. You don't know what's going to happen. And he puts one in the corner and the rest is history. Like that was a great game. That was a game that they absolutely needed. I think it's going to help them a lot, honestly.
Yeah, that's file that under one for the ages. I think, as far as like memory, what's going to stick in your head. I'm gonna remember Carson Kelly from this game, and then he had one other pretty damn huge game. Well, he's had a lot of good games this year, but earlier in the year there was a major game too. But
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, obviously Hap getting it started first run with that home run there, kind of start chipping away. But I just do go back to, like, it felt like a two totally different teams from first half to second half, because Savali, when he came in the game, Ray obviously had his struggles. Savali pitched really good, and then the defense, not only the offense chipping away, but the defense really stepped up, because there were some miscues early on, and even a base running mistake by Nico getting picked off of second base. And then, all of a sudden, well, Pete's tracking down a ball that's in the gap, making a sliding catch that he has no business sprinting after and
20%
catching.
catch probability on that ball.
Nuts, man. That's an insane catch. And then Dansby too, the over the shoulder sliding catch, which is a very tough play. Like, for those of you that just like you watch, but you've never actually played baseball, or maybe it's been a while, like,
Hard.
that is the over the shoulder, like, infielder going out to the outfield. That
Tough.
play is such a tough, like, read.
So hard.
That was an incredible play. And I just felt like it was just from pitching to offense to defense, everything kind of stepped up and clicked there about mid game to the finish line. So, yeah, this is a gritty one. Go back to Darren's comment, the grit, the passion. This was a guts and nuts type of victory today by the Cubs.
Oh yeah, guts and nuts. I like that a lot. Yeah, I mean the only thing I want to add on is Savali was really really good. He goes 3 innings pitched, strikes out 4, only gives up 1 hit. He really was the bridge to get you to this victory. Honestly, from the defensive standpoint, PCA just has no business catching the balls that he catches. Like, it's just so fun to watch him. I love watching him play outfield. Like, what a treat that we all are able to watch him, and he just acts. It's effortless for him too. Like, he's just so fast, gets great reads on balls. Yeah, sometimes the other outfielders can not collide physically, but like maybe mentally, just because he's such a presence out there. But he really commands an outfield. He really does. And I will never get tired of watching him out there. But this was a great game, man. I'm really excited about what I saw. I think they absolutely can use this as a momentum builder, especially for the rest of the series, but even, for the rest of the month. September is a really important baseball month. It's what everyone talks about, falling apart in September. You don't want that. And it seems like they might be getting onto a heater here. And if they can catch fire at the right time, this could be really fun. This could be a really fun time. I mean, they could chase down the Brewers. Who knows? So
it's not out of question at this point.
It's not out of question. They're only 5, and that's what pisses me off about the not getting the sweep and getting one more game on the Brewers.
I get it.
Hate the Brewers, but it's baseball, man. It is baseball. You just got to swallow it, move on, and play the next game. Honestly, that's what it's all about. And that's what we're moving on to, man. The next game in this series. So it's going to be tomorrow. We have our man, Shota Imanaga, on the mound, and he is going against Joey Wentz, a crafty lefty, young guy, 27. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he's having a fantastic year. I think he's
you know what? I honestly have not been paying as much attention.
I think he struggled a bit. Regardless, this Cubs offense seems to be catching fire at the right time. And the whole thing about that is they're the kind of offense that will grind a pitcher down, especially a young pitcher, put the pressure on early, rack up the pitch count, get them out. It's all about putting that pressure on those guys. And I feel like when the Cubs are right, there's no other team like it. When you got Nico Horner with his at-bats, Ian Happ puts together great at-bats, Matt Shaw puts together great at-bats, hell, Michael Busch puts together really great at-bats. So you got guys that can really take down a starter if they're right. So looking forward to seeing what they do tomorrow in terms of just offensive plan, how they're going to go out there and go against Joey Wentz. But what do you need to see tomorrow out of these Cubbies to secure the victory?
Well, kind of the same, except start sooner. I think if you start sooner, that's going to be better for everybody. Maybe you can give some rest to the bullpen guys that need a little bit more of a break. Keller got himself into trouble and then got himself out of trouble. It was really clutch today. Kittredge looked really good. But I would like to get probably those two guys some rest tomorrow, if at all possible. Let's get, a nice comfy lead and not have, maybe Ben Brown doing his best to give it away. Like, I think it was Friday night when they had a big lead there. Just get out to a nice comfy lead. It would be great to get one of those kind of laugher victories here in game 2. And I think the good thing is, you can't sweep if you don't win game 1. I feel like that's like the obvious, maybe that could be like our obvious fact of the,
I like that. Yeah, I like
show.
that. You can't sweep if you don't win game 1.
Speaking of OnTap Sportsnet, use the promo code OnTap Sports, at Obvious Shirts. Your next
10%.
order.
Yeah, get 10% off your next order. Obvious Shirts on Tap Sports.
Help us, help them.
It's down in the ticker down there at the bottom there as well.
Yep. So, but yeah, man, what I need to see tomorrow is just a little bit more of the same, but just sooner, and cut out the mistakes. Like, let's not have like the brain dead looking moments where you're getting picked off the bases or just a little bit lackadaisical like that. And, the miscues in the outfield or whatever's going on. Like, just clean it up just a little bit. I will say, I think I'm going to predict that. It's not a bold prediction by any means, because usually they try to get them into action quickly like they did with Carlos Santana. But I think Kevin Alcantara will make his season debut with the Cubs tomorrow, especially with there being a lefty. Those, I know we're going to talk a little bit about some of the moves that were made, but
sure,
Alcantara there's a big difference for him against lefties than it is against righties in the minors. Against lefties this year, he's hitting .319 with an over 1,000 OPS, and against righties, he's hitting .250 with a 761 OPS. So if they're going to use them the right way, use them against lefties. And so I would expect him to get some action tomorrow.
Nice. I like that a lot. Yeah, I hope that's the case as well. We've had some great comments. I just want to get to some of these comments here. This one here is from Jay. If the game is rained out on Wednesday, would it be made up on Thursday afternoon? I don't know if they would take away their off day to do that, but they might. I don't think.
Well, Atlanta's probably not coming back here.
Yeah,
again. I guess it depends if they have an off day, right?
Yeah, Atlanta's not coming back, so they probably will.
Atlanta looks like Atlanta is off on Thursday, so I would assume that that's probably what they're going to have to do. The off day would just be like, oh, well, we're giving you Wednesday now as your off day. But
exactly. And then Hank puts, if the only requirement to be a Cubs backup first baseman is you got to be 39 or older, then I want to try out tomorrow. I like that.
Yeah,
that's great.
You
that
and
might
me both,
be their
Hank.
only requirement right now.
I might be a little bit too short, but I guess if that is truly the only requirement, then yeah, sign me up too.
Yep. And just trying to get a lot of great comments. Thanks everyone for your comments. Aaron Savali, 3 innings with 4 Ks, underrated stud of the game, 100%. And then in terms of that over the shoulder catch, man. Every time I made a catch like that playing second base, it was pure luck, and took it with a smile from Darren there. Yeah. I've made a couple pure luck catches like that over the shoulder. And you just put your arm out to where you think it's going to be, and when it falls in there, it's a great feeling. So 100% get that there. But last one, 5 games back in the loss column, just keep winning from Scott. 100% true that. But, Joey, you mentioned some moves. There were some moves. We talked about the one. Alcantara comes up. Owen Casey goes down. Very briefly, I know we didn't get to see much of Owen Casey. I'm going to give you two questions. Did you want to see more of Owen Casey, and how do you think Owen Casey did?
I thought he did fine for especially for the position he was put in. Of course, I wanted to see more Owen Casey. I think we all did. The trouble is, and maybe there was a little bit of an overreaction from all of us collectively as Cubs fans. Like, I'm not even saying I'm immune to this sort of take, because I wanted to see Owen Casey in there as much as possible. But that's the problem, is there really isn't a good spot for him unless he like somehow learns first base overnight. And
Good point.
even then you're taking Michael Busch out of the lineup because he's probably only playing against righties and not really against lefties. So like the need there to hit a left-handed pitcher and to also find spots, like Kevin Alcantara is the perfect switch right now. Like, as weird as that is to say, because it's not like I don't think this changes anything from Owen Casey's long-term outlook or how the Cubs feel about him or anything like that.
Sure.
Because I don't think he did a bad job. I think he did a really nice job when he was, he gave him a little bit of a spark at moments.
Yep.
And then, played some pretty decent outfield as well. A couple nice plays there, but just what this team calls for. And, if you want to say, well, him over Santana or something like that, or him over Turner, sure, we can talk about that eventually being the case or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's something I've been talking about and kind of looking forward to for a long time was a Kevin Alcantara call-up, because I thought it just made too much sense from him being able to play every outfield spot, play it well, play center field, has speed, hits lefties extremely well. Like, especially the way that PCA has been struggling right now, I wouldn't be surprised if this kind of turns more into like a platoon sort of role, especially
Sure.
if Alcantara kind of gets hot there. But that's all, TBD on that stuff. But like, I think this was the right call. If it's just like player A for player B, like if you're talking Casey for Alcantara, I think that's the right move. And honestly, I was a little bit not surprised, I shouldn't say, but like, I'm not shocked at all at this point that this is what the Cubs decide to do, especially for September, because then now he's he can play on the playoff roster if you want him
to. Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree with you full-heartedly. I'd love to, on one of our expansive shows, get into maybe a debate or maybe a talk about Owen Casey over Justin Turner and Carlos Santana, because I feel like very quickly I am one of the only Cubs fans, maybe I'm not, that is adamantly against Justin Turner. I don't know. I never really liked Justin Turner outside of the Cubs ever, because I had some bad taste in my mouth.
Well, he killed us in certain spots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then he comes to the Cubs, and I knew this shit was going to happen. He's ass. He's absolute ass. And you want to call it a veteran presence, you want to call it whatever the hell you want to call it, fine. But when you're late now into the season and he's still taking up room on this roster, it just leads me to believe that it's an unserious organization move, and it really pisses me off. So I could get into that for a long time. That's why I said it on an expansive show, because Owen Casey over Justin Turner all day long, man, because I just feel like he's just, he's just so much more potential out of Owen Casey than there is with Justin Turner. He's lived many baseball lives, and so has Carlos Santana, which we're going to talk about right now. They also have a move for Carlos Santana, which isn't necessarily a bad move. Along with Aaron Savali, they DFA Ben Cowles and Tom Cosgrove to make room. But, they go with Carlos Santana. That was a little bit of in the Cubs X world, controversial move. I don't hate it. I really don't I'm not adamantly against it again. But once again, you have young guys that you didn't send away during the deadline to get bigger and better things. So it's like, why are we now trying to piece it together now to get that bat?
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. I mean, he's out there. Why not go get him? Take a flyer on him. Maybe he does catch fire or something, and then you look like a a genius once again, Jed. It's just these flyers and these gambles, man. But anyways, what do you think about the Carlos Santana move?
I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent on it, to be
Yeah,
honest, because I don't expect him to play like this big role or anything. Like he's
sure.
not really gonna play all that much, and maybe he plays a little bit here and there against lefties. He's done okay. He's done pretty good over his career against lefties. He is a good glove at first base, which is something that you can say. It's better than what Justin Turner is going to give you at first base defensively. But then that kind of goes right into your question of, well, then why the hell is Turner here? But maybe they're just trying to see which one could give them a little spark. I mean, the one thing about Turner that I'll say is, as awful as he's been, he's hitting 271 against lefties this year.
Which is what we need. I mean,
And that's the only time that he's really should ever see any action.
yeah,
And
lefties.
it's like, but he's worthless against righties. So like when the other team gets that opportunity to bring in a righty and you can't really afford to make a move or whatever the case is, certain parts of the game. That's why I had such an issue with when they pinch hit for Bush sometimes to bring in Justin Turner in like the 6th inning or the 5th inning, because you know what? You've opened up the door now for every other situation in the game when you need a left-handed bat in his spot, or you need somebody else in his spot. So that's where I do have the big issue with Justin Turner. It's because he doesn't get much playing time now as it is, but we have seen at times where Craig will, we got JT and Kelly 4-5, or something crazy. Which, credit to Carson Kelly tonight, he chose Labor Day to get his bat working again, which was cool to see. Kind of ironic, but he really hasn't been hitting that well lately. He was in a slump for a long time here for Carson Kelly. So for him to do that today, but like the lineups, we've been bitching about it for a little while now, like the construction of this thing, and maybe there's something there with Carlos Santana that can click. I don't want him to be anywhere near the 4, 5, 6 spots, especially like the heater that guys like, Happ, Swanson, Shaw, the clutch hitting of Nico Horner with guys on base. Like, you don't need to see, just don't get too cute with it. Just slide up some
Sure.
guys that are hitting.
Yeah.
Overall, I don't really care about the move. I guess that was a long-winded way to say it, but he had an
Sure.
opportunity today to come through in his first at-bat as a Cub and promptly struck out. So not a
Yeah,
good
that's
first
true.
impression.
Yeah, Darren puts here, they brought in Carlos because Justin needed someone to play cards with in the dugout. That's pretty funny.
Old man Rivers sticking together.
Yeah. Jay likes the move. He likes the Carlos Santana move. But yeah, I'm pretty indifferent on it, man. I'm not upset by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just very indifferent about it. I think I still have a very bad taste from the deadline. I think no matter what, unless they go into the playoffs red hot and just go through it like I'm always going to have a bad taste about that deadline because
Yeah.
I feel like you left a lot of meat left on the table, whatever you want to put it, a lot of chips left in front of you. You didn't do what you needed to do there. And I feel like you maybe are going to get lucky because this team's going to bounce back from it. But I think they did get affected by just a bad deadline for sure. And I'm not gonna stop thinking that. But
Yeah,
man, this was fun. Any final thoughts just overall? Did I miss anything with the moves? Anything like that?
No, I guess we didn't really talk about it, but Porter Hodge is back and Jordan Wicks was sent to
Yes.
Iowa. That's He didn't pitch that great in his first appearance back.
No, he did not.
I don't know how long he's going to stay up here. It might just be, for time being, and then Wicks or somebody else gets brought back. That could be, but that happened. And then Aaron Savali, we did talk about him a little bit, how good he was today, but that was a move that might be a little under the radar,
Yep.
especially if he's going to pitch out of the bullpen and only see a lineup one time through. That obviously worked out today for him. So I'm hoping that maybe they struck gold with another random reliever or random pitcher off the waiver wire, or like off the heap pile.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you said, Jed does it again. That's that's about it, I would say. Yeah, I think overall though, I'm feeling good. I think even if you flipped it, right, if you said, okay, take 2 or 3 from the Braves, like in your projections of like what your outlook was coming into, let's say, before last Friday, you went into it like, oh, let's go sweep the Rockies. Let's take 2 of 3 from the Braves. Then let's sweep the Nats. Well, if you flip it and it's the Rockies 2 of 3, it's sweeping the Braves and it's sweeping the Nats. There is no difference there. So, like
No,
overall, I think we're in a pretty good position. And like I said, man, you can't sweep a series unless you take game one. So let's hopefully they
exactly.
can get it done tomorrow too.
Exactly. Yeah. My final thoughts are, I absolutely hate the Brewers. I got to watch on MLB Network, watch their collapse on whatever you want to call it, a questionable call with the JT Realmuto check swing. He did go around, so screw you, Brewers fans. He totally did go around. Pat Murphy got ejected. Cry. Just cry about it because the Phillies are going to come in there. They're going to sweep you, and we're going to sweep the Braves. That's my final thoughts there. But I'm just excited. I'm excited for some more Cubs baseball. It's September. We're all really gearing up now. It's time to buckle those seatbelts and get ready here because we're coming up on a very special time in
Yeah.
baseball season. We really are. So
Talk dirty to me, Nick. White hot in September, like you were
white
saying.
hot in September, Joey. That's what we're going for. I mean, I think the switch was flipped today. I really do. It looked like it. They were on the field. They had that vibe. The momentum is carrying in the right direction. I think things are going to go well. Maybe a spark with Alcantara. But yeah, just keep on keeping on and give us more. We want more. We're greedy. We're greedy this season, Joey. Greedy Cubs fans. But we're not panicking.
That's for sure. I can't be a panicking.
But I want to tell everyone
Lose
where
my
they can
mind.
go find us and support us. You can go to ontapsportsnet.com. We have so much coverage of Chicago sports all around. We got Bears, which is starting up very, very soon. Very excited for this season. Hopefully, I don't have my hurt crushed as always, but I'm sure it will happen. We got Blackhawks. We have Bulls. We have beer. We have golf, a really good golf coverage. We even have pop culture on there. Go check us out. And yes, you have friends that may be a fan of this team. We have friends, we have even family members that may be a fan of this team. We also have White Sox, Chicago White Sox coverage, and they do a great job over there. The word on the street is that they are now fun bad. So go check that out as well if that's what you're into. But yeah, go support us. We're on YouTube, for Spotify, wherever you can find your podcast. That's where we are. Support us. Also, if you want to get an obvious shirt, use our code ONTAP Sports for 10% off your obvious shirt. Help them out, help us out, help all around. Get a great shirt. But yeah, this was really fun, man. What do you say we get out of here the only way that we know how?
What'd you say? It's Shota and Cade the next 2 starts, right?
Truly is.
Your 2 best pitchers at this moment of time. And I know Matthew Boyd's been terrific all season long, but lately it's been the Shota and Cade Horton show. Go. You have no excuse not to sweep this series. Take care of business like you did today. Blue collar, go to work, Labor Day, fuck the Cardinals, and let's go Cubs.
Yeah, let's go Cubbies. Also, fuck the Brewers too.